Hello and welcome to our Computer Basics training video. The objective of the video is to provide you with the necessary skills to set up and use a computer for the first time. However, if you already have a PC and you just want to expand your knowledge, then you'll find the information contained in this video very useful. We're going to show you some of the features on Microsoft Windows 98, and by the end of the video you'll have a better understanding of your PC and how to explore some of its exciting capabilities. To get the very best out of this training video, you may find it useful initially to locate your computer somewhere near to your TV or video screen, as we'll be showing you how to perform certain tasks that will be easier to follow if you can see the instructions whilst operating your computer. To help you locate specific sections, we've incorporated an indexing system, which shows a time code on your TV that corresponds with the index on the inside of the video sleeve. Unfortunately, computers don't always do as they're told, so the final section contains a troubleshooting guide which will help you through some of the common problems you may encounter when using your PC. Okay, let's now move on to section 1, getting started. When your new computer arrives, it'll probably turn up in a collection of boxes like this. Now, before you dive in, here's a couple of tips. Firstly, keep all the boxes in case you need to move, store or send your computer back to the supplier for an upgrade. Secondly, when you unpack, make sure you remove all the contents, as the connecting leads and manuals are often found inside the packaging. And finally, do make sure you keep your manuals handy, as they'll contain specific information about your individual system. Having unpacked everything, let's have a look at what you've got. The exact contents will depend on the package supplied by your retailer, so let's start with the essentials. We all tend to use the term computer to describe these collectively, but they're individual components. For example, this is the monitor. It's a bit like a TV and it comes in a choice of sizes. The keyboard is one method of communicating with your computer. Notice how the basic layout is similar to that of a typewriter. Another method of sending instructions is with one of these. It's called a mouse, and although not absolutely essential, you'll find once you get used to it, you'll be able to find your way around the screen much quicker. Lastly, we have the box which houses your components, such as your processor, memory and disk drives. It's really the heart and soul of your system, as all the other components connect to it. It's also where all the information is processed and stored, so when we refer to the computer, we'll be talking about this box of tricks. It's nearly always box-shaped and can come in a variety of sizes and styles, depending on your preference. This model is a desktop, while this case is a MIDI tower. All of these bits are essential to the operation of your system. Other components like modems, joysticks, scanners and printers expand the functionality and allow you to venture into a world that's limited only by your creativity. Whilst we're at this stage, let's consider some more terms you'll come across. Hardware. This is a physical piece of equipment, like the computer or monitor. It also applies to other components that fit into the computer case, like the processor and video card. Peripheral. A hardware device that's not an essential piece of equipment, a printer, joystick or modem, for example. Software. These are the programs that run on your computer. We'll show you how to install some software later on. We'll also introduce some more terminology as we go. Okay, so we've unpacked everything and we're now ready to start connecting up. As I've explained, virtually all connections are made to the computer, so let's have a look at this item in more detail. On the front of our machine we have a CD-ROM drive and a floppy disk drive. The CD and DVD drives are used to get information into your computer. Because CDs and DVDs hold very large amounts of information, you'll find that most software nowadays is distributed by this method. You will also have an on-off button and possibly a reset button. The reset button will reset your machine if the computer stops responding. However, this is a rare occurrence and should really only be used if all else fails. Before we start making our connections, let me explain what you'll actually be connecting to. Inside the computer is an electronic circuit board called the motherboard. This controls most of the internal workings of the computer. Without getting too technical, it's the motherboard that houses your processor and memory chips. There are various other essential items that connect to your motherboard, like a video card and this sound card. The sound card fits onto the motherboard and exposes these ports to the back where you connect your speakers, microphone and game controllers. Having had a look at the front and the inside of a computer, let's now have a look at the back, because this is where we make our various connections. Now, don't panic if it looks a little daunting, because you'll soon discover that it's quite logical. The first thing to note is that whilst your connections are likely to be positioned differently to ours, they follow a standard convention, so it's quite easy to follow. Let's start with the monitor. Depending on its make, the monitor cable may be permanently wired like our model, or one will be supplied separately. Notice that the connector is slightly oval in shape. This ensures that it only fits one way round. There should only be one connector that will receive the plug, so once you've located it, make sure you have the plug orientated correctly, then gently insert it. It should fit easily, so don't force it. On the side of the plug are two retaining screws, which are used to prevent the plug from coming adrift. They're not holding up the fourth bridge, so only tighten them very lightly. The monitor also needs power, so if the mains lead is fitted with a conventional plug, connect it to a suitable mains socket. If not, it'll come with a lead like this one that provides the monitor with power from the computer. Next, we'll connect the keyboard. The connector can be one of two types. The larger is known as a DIN plug and has been around for some time, whilst the smaller one is a PS2 and is found on most newer machines. Notice that there's a small nick in the shell. When you fit it, make sure this corresponds with the indentation on the socket. This plug can be exactly the same as the one on the mouse, so make sure you connect into the socket with the keyboard symbol. The pins on these are very delicate, so be gentle. Last of our essential items is the mouse. If it's the same PS2 plug, then we need to find the socket with a mouse symbol and again insert it gently. If it has a plug like this, then locate the appropriate socket. You may also have some peripherals like speakers, a printer or joysticks, so let's show you where these are connected. Firstly, the printer. Printers always have a separate cable with a different connector at each end. Fortunately, they also follow a common format, so this end, which is called a Centronics interface connector, fits in the printer, while a 25-way D connector is plugged in here. Incidentally, this type of cable is called a standard parallel printer cable and is available in a variety of lengths to suit the location of your printer, so contact your retailer if you need to purchase a longer one. Next, we'll connect our speakers to the sound card socket. The back of a typical sound card has a number of 3.5mm jack sockets. If you look closely, they should be labelled, so plug the speakers into the appropriate socket. There's also a line out to connect to your hi-fi and a connector for a microphone. Depending on the speakers, they may need connecting together and also plugging into the mains. Check the manual if you're not sure. You'll also find a games port on the sound card where you can connect joysticks, gamepads or steering wheels. I'm going to connect a joystick. Finally, a modem. This device connects your computer to the telephone network and allows you access to the internet and even to play games with your friends. There's a complete section on the internet later, but for now we need to make the connections. The back of your modem card may look like this, probably with two connections, one marked line and the other phone. Simply unplug your phone from the wall socket and connect it in here. The cable connects the computer to the telephone wall socket, so simply plug each end in accordingly. If your modem has only one connection, use it to connect directly to the wall socket and use an adapter for the phone. The computer modem has its own dialing system, so you won't need to use your telephone keypad to dial out. You're now ready to connect the power supply lead, but before we turn on, let's have another quick look at the mouse and the keyboard. purpose of the mouse is to allow you to move around the screen and quickly execute commands. As you can see, our mouse has 2 buttons on top with a ball underneath. To work properly, it needs a good flat surface, so if you've got a mouse mat, I'd recommend you use it, as it makes the action a lot smoother. The mouse is one of the few items that'll need regular maintenance. Dust will collect on the rollers, preventing it from running smoothly, so it'll need an occasional clean with mouse cleaning fluid. During the course of this video, you'll hear references to single, double or right click. The single click is a single press of either button, whilst the double click is simply a click of the left button, quickly followed by another. You'll also be shown how to drag. This is performed by clicking and holding the mouse button in a depressed position, whilst moving your object or window to a different position. When we start using the computer, we'll show you when and how to use each of these methods. As I said earlier, the keyboard of a computer could be compared with a typewriter. However, there are a number of additional keys which have special functions. For example, along the top of the keyboard are the function keys F1 to F12, which are shortcuts to certain functions. For example, F1 will usually invoke the help program for the application you're working on, a useful tip if you ever get stuck. If you have a Windows key along the bottom row, then you'll be able to access the Start menu whilst running most programs. There are a number of other shortcuts that you'll pick up as you become more experienced. Okay, one final check to ensure your connections are secure and your leads are neat and tidy at the back of the PC. You need to ensure you're sitting at a comfortable distance from your monitor and the mouse and keyboard are within easy reach. Now let's turn the computer and monitor on and see what happens. As the computer starts up, it performs a number of self-tests, so you may hear a beep and see some lights flash on and off. This is quite normal. The monitor will also spring into life with some messages appearing on screen as the computer carries out a few diagnostic checks and then begins to load Windows. If you cannot see anything happening, check that the monitor is switched on and that the connections are correct. Some computers and monitors also have a separate on-off switch at the rear. Again, check these are on. If you're starting your PC for the first time and Windows 98 has come preloaded and registered for you, the first window you will see is the Windows 98 welcome screen. This is well worth a look at a later stage as it contains some really useful information. But for now, click on the small cross in the top right-hand corner of the window to continue. Once the welcome window has closed, you will see a screen similar to this one. Windows calls this the desktop. If you're prompted to register Windows 98, just follow the on-screen prompts, entering your name and the serial numbers from the front of the Windows certificate. You cannot proceed any further until you complete this section, nor will Windows continue if the serial number is entered incorrectly, so input all the characters exactly as they appear. If you're asked to insert your Windows 98 CD, ensure that you load your CD into the drive with the silver side face down and the printed side upwards. You should avoid touching the data surface. At some stage, Windows may request that you make a recovery disk. If so, this is how to insert and remove a floppy disk. Ensure your disk enters the floppy disk drive the correct way round. The word Windows is widely used these days in connection with computers, so perhaps a brief explanation of this terminology wouldn't go amiss. Windows is the operating system that allows you to communicate easily with your computer. It's also the platform on which all your programs run and communicate with each other, as well as the other devices on your system. It controls the flow of data to your printer when you want to print, and the information that's sent to your monitor for you to view. In fact, Windows has a hand in everything you do with your PC, from writing letters, playing games, to sending email. It was probably called Windows because it's quite a good description of the view you see on screen with programs and applications contained in Windows which can be opened and closed or moved around. We'll show you how to do this as we progress. The version of Windows we'll be using is called Microsoft Windows 98, but don't worry if you're running Windows 95 because most of the techniques we're going to show you will apply to both Windows 95 and 98, although some of the screenshots will look a little different. The desktop is the place where most of your tasks will be initiated. It's the workspace on your screen where icons, application windows and dialog boxes will appear. Don't worry if your desktop doesn't look exactly like ours, because your supplier may have customized it for you. Our screen shows some picture icons on the left-hand side, and at the bottom you'll see the taskbar. On the right side of the taskbar there will be some small little picture icons, and on the left the prominent Start button. Using your mouse, left-click on the Start button and you'll see the Start menu pop up. If you slide your mouse up and down, the various options become highlighted. Left-click on Shutdown and you'll see a list of different options. At this stage, we're actually going to show you how to exit Windows correctly, even though you've only just turned it on. This may seem a bit premature, but Windows should always be shut down correctly because it needs to perform various functions before it closes. You should never turn the power off until Windows has shut down completely, so when you're ready, left-click on the shutdown option in the new window that's appeared and select OK. Following this procedure will guarantee that your computer is shut down correctly and ensure that you're not greeted with a series of error messages when you next turn on your machine. There we are, Windows has shut down, so it's safe to turn the power off. OK, let's now restart your computer using the power button. So now you know what your desktop looks like and how to exit Windows, let's have a more detailed look at the Start menu. First, click the Start button. Slide your mouse up to the Log On, Log Off button. This is normally used when groups of computers are linked together in a network. It enables different users to connect to and disconnect from the network. You can also use this facility if you want to customize your desktop to suit your own style. The purpose of the Run option is to enable you to launch programs and load software. The next item is the Help menu. This can be extremely useful if you encounter a problem and need some assistance. Simply left-click the Help button and then click on the Search tab. You then enter a brief description in the Find box, for example, printers. Now click on the List Topics button and Windows will give you a comprehensive guide to assist you in solving your printer problems. It's well worth giving Help a go before contacting your PC supplier, as many problems can be easily solved using this facility. To close the Help window, left-click on the cross in the top right-hand corner. OK, now left-click on the Start button again and move your mouse pointer upwards to highlight the Find item. You'll notice that a sub-menu appears. This is a sub-menu of the Find item. If a small triangular arrow appears to the right of the menu, it indicates that there's a sub-menu for that item containing further options. Now that the sub-menu has appeared, left-click on Files or Folders. You could now enter the name of the file you wish to find, and Windows will find it for you. I'll cover this again shortly, as we'll be using the Find facility during one of our exercises, so for now, click on the Close button. The Settings item will give you access to the control panel and some other options which will help you change the configuration of your computer. We don't recommend you access the control panel at this stage unless you have specific guidance or professional instructions to do so. Next, move your mouse button up and highlight the Documents menu. This is a quick way to find your most recently used documents. If you're working on a brand new computer, then the sub-menu will probably be empty, but as you create documents, these will be added to the menu. The Favourites menu is a shortcut to some interesting websites, such as Virgin Net and BBC Online. You can customise this menu to access your own favourite documents or internet websites. We'll now take a look at the Programs menu. This is where you access the programs installed on your computer. The list of programs you have may differ from ours because some computers come preloaded with different programs. However, you should have an Accessories item as a sub-menu. you'll note that this too has yet another sub-menu. You should find that this sub-menu gives you access to some exciting Windows programs such as Paint, WordPad and Games. OK, now left-click anywhere on the desktop to remove the Start menu, as we're now going to take a look at the picture icons on the desktop. These icons are basically shortcuts to programs and can be highlighted by a single left click or opened using a double click. The icon entitled My Computer provides access to all parts of your computer, including your disk drives. If you want to see how much disk space you have on your hard drive, double-click the My Computer icon and then right-click on your hard disk icon and then left-click on Properties. Ensure the General tab is prominent. If not, then left-click on it and you'll see a pie chart. The pie chart will show you how much disk space you've used and how much you have left. Left-click OK when you're done and then close the My Computer window by clicking the cross in the top right of the window. The Recycle bin contains files that you've selected to delete from your computer. Instead of the file being lost forever, you can actually retrieve the deleted item from the Recycle bin. It's a bit like throwing a letter in the waste paper bin. It can be retrieved until you empty the bin, then it's gone forever. To free up space on your drive, you should periodically empty the Recycle bin by right-clicking on its icon and selecting the Empty option. Once you empty the bin, the contents are gone for good. Now we've seen some of the features of the desktop, let's find out how we open a program and change the size of its window. In this exercise, we're going to show you how to open a program and move and resize its window. The program we're going to use is called WordPad, a small word processing package that's supplied free with Windows. By now, you should be getting quite familiar with this process of navigating around, so to access WordPad, we left-click Start, move up to Programs, across to Accessories, and then left-click on WordPad. The program has now opened in a window. The highlighted bar at the top is called the title bar. Directly underneath is the menu bar, which provides access to a range of commands, and below that is the toolbar, which provides a number of shortcut buttons. Now let me show you how to move the window to another place. Locate the mouse pointer in the title bar, left-click and hold down whilst you drag the window to where you want it. When you release the mouse button, the window will drop into its new location. This method of moving is known as drag and drop and is used quite frequently, as you'll see. You can also change the size of a window. Place your mouse pointer over any one of the four sides of the window. Notice how it changes to a double-sided arrow. Now simply left-click and hold as you increase or decrease the size of the window. Again, release the button when you're finished resizing. You could use the previous method on all four sides of the window until it covers your whole screen, but there's an easier and quicker way. In the top right-hand corner of your window are three buttons. The middle one is called the Maximize button. If you left-click it, it'll automatically maximize the window to cover the entire screen. Notice that the button has changed and is now called the Restore button, so that when we left-click it again, the window restores to its previous size. If you wish to temporarily close the window, you can minimize it by left-clicking the Minimize button, which is the first button on the left. Your window has now been minimized and a button has appeared on the taskbar. However, WordPad is still running in the background. We've only minimized the window to clear the desktop for another program, which in turn could also be minimized to the taskbar. In fact, you can have many programs running at once, but your computer's performance will decrease as more demands are placed on it. In practice, the maximum number will depend on the specification of your machine and the type of programs involved. To restore a window, simply click on its button on the taskbar. As we've already seen, to close the window completely, just left-click on the Close button, which is the one marked with a cross in the top right-hand corner of the window. Let's open WordPad again so we can enter some text. Then we'll show you how to save a document. It's important to understand the difference between a program and a document. WordPad is the program we can use to type a letter. When we save it, we create a document or file. Okay, so let's enter some text. In the document window, you will see a blinking cursor. This is where your text will appear. Type in Computer Basics, then open the File menu with a single left click on File in the top left corner of the window. From this menu, left click on Save As, which will open the Save dialog box. Type in My First Document, then left click Save, and our new document will be created. Notice that the title bar at the top of your window has named your file My First Document. We're now going to show you how to change the look of your text using some of the features in WordPad. First, we want to maximize the WordPad screen, so click on the Maximize button in the top right-hand corner of the WordPad window. Place your mouse pointer at the beginning of your Computer Basics text, then left-click and hold down the button whilst you drag your cursor from right to left over the text. This will highlight your text. Release the mouse button when all the text is highlighted. Now click on the arrow in the Font drop-down menu. You'll now see some additional fonts to choose from. Using the scroll bar button in the Font drop-down menu, scroll down until you see the Verdana Baltic font. Select this font by clicking on it. As you can see, the style of the text has now changed. Now let's change the size of the text by clicking on the arrow in the Size box. Scroll down and select 36. Now keep your text highlighted and click on B for bold, then I for italics, and U for underline. Now add some colour to your text by clicking on the Colour button. From the drop-down menu, select Red. Finally, we're going to centralise the text by clicking on the Centre button. OK, now click on a clear part of the WordPad window and you'll see your new style of the text. If your PC is connected to a printer, you may want to print your new document. Simply click on the printer icon on the WordPad toolbar. As your window is still open, now would be a good time to experiment using the skills you've just learned. When you've finished, click on the cross to exit WordPad. Before you can exit, WordPad will ask you if you want to save your document. Choose Yes to save your work. You may want to save your new document on a floppy disk so that you can keep it safe or transfer it to another PC. Before you transfer any information to a floppy disk, it's a good idea to format the disk first. This will wipe the disk of any current information and prepare it to receive new data. Once the data is wiped, it can't be retrieved, so make sure there's no important data on the disk before you format it. Assuming your PC is already turned on, insert the floppy disk in the drive like this and ensure the disk is inserted the correct way up. As you can see, the disk enters the computer with the protective cover first and the metal wheel underneath. You should also ensure that the protective tab on the rear of the disk is closed. If the tab is in the open position, the disk will be protected and can't be written to. OK, here's how you format a floppy disk. Double-click on the My Computer icon on the desktop. Now right-click on the 3.5-inch floppy drive icon, and then from the drop-down menu, left-click on Format. Next, choose the Quick Erase option, and then click on Start, and the disk will format for you. When the disk has finished formatting, you'll see the results window, which should look like this. That's it, your formatted disk is now ready to use. You can now close the windows and return to the desktop screen. In a previous exercise, we created a document and called it My First Document, which was then saved in a folder called My Documents. All documents are files which can be grouped together in a folder, just like a collection of letters that you may keep in a ring binder. However, you may wish to pass the document to a friend or transfer it to another computer. In this example, we're going to show you how to copy your My First Document file to a floppy disk. To do this, we can use the floppy disk drive. Insert your formatted floppy disk in the disk drive. You then need to find your file called My First Document, so left-click on the Start button and then Documents. Windows will display a list of recent documents. If your PC is brand new, the only one listed will be My First Document, so right-click on its icon to produce a new menu. Now click on the Send To option and select 3.5-inch floppy drive, and Windows will copy this file to the floppy disk. Once the transfer has taken place, remove the disk. It's as simple as that. To check your file is transferred to disk, double-click the My Computer icon. Ensure your disk is still in the drive and double-click your floppy disk drive. You'll then see a list of the contents of the disk. If your file is transferred to disk correctly, it'll appear as an icon in the contents of the dialog box. Windows is very versatile as it provides many different ways to achieve the same thing. So we're now going to open our document by creating a shortcut icon on the desktop. We're also going to use a different method to find our document. So left-click on Start and then select the Find option and left-click on Files and Folders. Type in My First Document and ensure the Look-in box has the C drive selected. Now left-click on Find Now and Windows will search for your document. Now locate the small icon called My First Document using the scroll bars if necessary, and then right-click and hold whilst you drag it to your desktop. When you release the right button, Windows offers you the following options from which you select Create Shortcut here. Close the Find box. Unlike the previous exercise where we copied the file, this time we have created a link. You can now open our document and the associated application WordPad by double-clicking the icon. Now it's open, let's minimize it as we have before. Now let's repeat the exercise to place a shortcut to a calculator on your desktop. Go to Start, up to Find, then click on Files and Folders and type in Calc. Ensure the C drive is listed and then click Find Now. When Windows has found the Calc icon, right-click, hold and drag to the desktop. Select Create Shortcut here. Now exit the Find window. If you now double-click on the calculator icon, you'll have a very handy calculator at your disposal. The calculator works in two ways. The first is with the mouse by placing the pointer over the numbers and clicking. The second is with the keyboard. Ensure that the number lock light is on. If not, press the number lock button. You can now use the numeric keypad on the right of your keyboard and the calculator will work using this method. We now have two programs running. If you restore the WordPad window, you can see both windows at the same time. The calculator is running in the background, but the WordPad window, which has the highlighted title bar, is the active window. To see both windows, you will need to resize and move the WordPad window. You've now seen how easy it is to open two programs and switch between the windows. OK, so let's now close both windows. If you wish to remove shortcuts from the desktop, simply right-click on the icon and then left-click on Delete, and you'll be asked to confirm your actions. Remember what we said earlier, a shortcut is only a link to the actual program or document, so you're only deleting the shortcut. However, if the icon is not a shortcut, you may actually delete something very important, so use this facility with great care. I'm going to confirm the deletion and you'll see that our shortcut has gone. A useful utility that can customize your desktop whilst prolonging the life of your monitor is a screensaver. It's programmed to take effect after a preset period of inactivity, if you break for lunch, for example. Screensavers come in many different formats. Windows has a list of screensavers from which you can choose. As soon as you touch a key on the keyboard or move your mouse, your normal screen will return. To access a list of available screensavers, right-click on a clear area of your desktop and then left-click Properties. The dialog box that opens may look different to ours as it depends on your graphics card, but along the top will be a tab marked Screensaver. Left-click on it, and then from the Screensaver drop-down menu, you can choose from a list of various screensavers. Use the up and down arrows on the keyboard to scroll down and view the different options. As you do so, you can view them in the little monitor above the drop-down menu. Let's now select 3D text and then click the Settings button next to the text box. Place the cursor in the text box and type in your own text, maybe your name or a funny message, and click OK. Now select a waiting period to tell your screensaver when to come on. We would suggest at least 5 minutes. If you want to view your screensaver before saving it, click on Preview and then click OK when you're done. If you want to change your desktop's appearance, you need to once again bring up the Display Properties dialog box, but this time select the tab marked Background. As you try different backgrounds, you'll see an example on the monitor. If you want to expand the image to cover the whole background, choose Tile or Stretch from the Display drop-down menu. Click on Apply when you find a suitable background. If you want to change back to the original configuration, choose None from the drop-down menu and click on Apply. To change the colours of your windows, click on the Appearance tab. Here you can experiment with the colours and sizes of your windows. If you click on Apply, the effect will take place, but the dialog box will remain open. If you press OK, your changes will be affected and the box will close. So click OK when you're happy with your new settings. If you're not happy with your new settings and want to restore them to how they were, click on the Appearance tab again and select Windows Standard from the Scheme drop-down menu and then click OK to confirm the settings. Windows Explorer is a very powerful tool. In fact, it's one of the principal components in Windows and enables you to view and access the entire contents of your PC. To use Explorer, go to Start, Programs, Windows Explorer, left-click, and you will see the Windows Explorer screen. If you left-click the folder My Documents in the left-hand window, it will display its contents in the right window. There's our file, My First Document, which confirms that when we deleted the shortcut, we left the document intact. You can also open your document from here by double-clicking on its icon. This is yet another example of Windows flexibility. To load new software, ensure you're at the familiar desktop before you place the CD in the drive. Remember to make sure the printed side is facing upwards. Windows comes with a facility called Auto Run, which makes loading software much easier than it used to be. Once you insert your CD into your CD drive, Windows will look for your new software and automatically try to load it for you. If Windows detects your CD, just follow the on-screen instructions. If not, you'll need to refer to the installation guide that came with the software. If it's a game you've loaded, you may wish to choose between a joystick, mouse, keyboard or gamepad as a controller. Most games come with a setup or options menu to enable you to choose your preferred method. Providing you have a CD-ROM drive, you can use your PC as a CD player. Simply insert a music CD into the drive and the CD player button will appear on the taskbar. Click on the button to open the CD player. Provided you have speakers connected to your PC, you can listen to your favourite CD and work on your computer at the same time. There are various different types of printers available, and Windows is compatible with most of them. However, your computer needs to know what printer you've chosen to use. So if you've purchased a new printer with your computer or you wish to install another, these are the steps you should follow. First, make sure your printer is connected to your computer and is turned on. Now go to Start, Settings and left-click Printers. The dialog box that opens will contain an icon to install, add a new printer, and there will be an icon for each printer already installed on your machine. It's possible that your PC supplier has already installed your printer for you. If the box is empty like ours, then no printers have been installed yet, so double-click the Add Printer icon and follow the on-screen instructions. The printer wizard will ask you if you wish to install a local or network printer. Our printer is connected directly to our computer, so it's local. Windows may prompt you to insert your Windows CD, as the computer may need to access this while setting up the printer. Next, choose the manufacturer of your printer in the left-hand box, followed by the model on the right. If your printer's manufacturer and model do not appear in the setup menu, please refer to your printer's handbook for a compatible printer. Alternatively, your printer may have been supplied with a driver disc or CD. If so, insert it into the appropriate drive and click on Have Disk, then click Next. Then choose the appropriate port. Windows will probably default to LPT1, as this is the most common port for a printer. Click Next. You can then choose a new name for your printer if you wish, and decide if this should be the default printer. Then click Next. Windows will then ask you if you would like to print a test page. Click Yes and then Finish. If you receive a test page, then all is well. If not, then follow the online help for a solution. If your PC has a sound card, speakers, CD-ROM and a joystick, then you can enjoy all the excitement of multimedia. If it's gameplay you're after, you're in for a treat. The PC provides exceptionally smooth graphics and sound, with the ability to play against friends using the phone line via a modem or over a network. You could ask your PC supplier to install a TV card, which will allow you to use your PC as a television, whilst working on another application at the same time if you wish. You need never miss another episode of your favourite soap again. If you have a camcorder, using the appropriate hardware and software, you can even edit your home videos on your PC. In fact, this entire video was edited using a computer. You can also use your PC as an educational tool. There are various software packages which give access to a wealth of useful information. For example, a multimedia encyclopedia like Encarta. A CD can hold so much information that you'll never need to buy a hardback encyclopedia again. They're also very easy to use and come with a useful Find facility. Simply type in the name of the topic you want to learn about and let the PC do the rest. Great for the homework, kids. Let's suppose you wanted to find out all about the cheetah family using Microsoft Encarta. Simply type the word cheetah in the search box, and within seconds you'll be able to learn all about this fascinating creature. There's even a short video clip with sound to add to the realism. If you intend to use your PC for business, then there are many applications you can buy to make your business run more efficiently. It's an old cliche, but time is money, and if you purchase the appropriate software, your PC can perform a number of useful functions, leaving you more time to spend on other areas of your business. As well as the obvious programs that will do word processing and spreadsheets, you can purchase user-friendly accounts packages such as Sage. These programs will organise and manage every aspect of your accountancy system. You could also consider a software package like VoiceType, which is a word processor with a difference. You rarely need to use the keyboard. You just dictate your letter or document into a microphone and your speech is transferred into text on your PC. Clever. If you have a modem connected to your PC, you'll also find a wealth of information on the internet, a growing media that's being used by personal and business users alike. Many companies now have their own website and an email address, as communicating electronically is quicker and more cost-effective than conventional mail. We'll cover the internet in more detail later in the video. There are also some exciting multimedia functions that come free with Win98, such as Sound Recorder, which, providing you have a microphone, enable you to record and edit your own sounds. It's also possible to send a recorded message with your electronic mail if you have the right software. To check out Sound Recorder, you need to go to Start, Programs, Accessories, Entertainment. A modem is a device that lets your computer communicate with another computer down a telephone line. It enables you to send and receive faxes, play multimedia games with friends, or surf the internet. If you intend to use the internet on a regular basis, it will pay you to have a relatively fast modem, because the quicker the information is transmitted, the less time you'll need to spend online, and therefore the greater the saving will be on your telephone bill. Digital cameras are great fun to use and are increasing in popularity with computer users because, unlike conventional cameras, once you've taken a series of photos, you can transfer the images directly to your PC and manipulate them on screen. Here's a typical digital camera. You can see that at the rear of the camera is an LCD screen. This allows you to view the image before you capture it. Most good quality digital cameras will allow you to store over 100 photos on a small microchip or removable disk, so if you're not happy with a particular shot, you can either delete it or save it to disk before having another go at getting that perfect photo. Most digital cameras come with associated software and a connecting cable that links your PC to your camera. So once you've downloaded your photos to your PC, you can manipulate and resize the images to suit your own needs. If you have a colour printer, then you can print your images in colour. To get the best results, you'll need to install a photo cartridge into your printer and use photo quality paper, but overall you should find using a digital camera reasonably cost effective, because once you have everything you need, you won't need to purchase camera film or pay out for processing costs again. A scanner is a device that enables you to input images and/or text into your computer. Most scanners are relatively easy to use and come with associated software. There are various different types of scanners on the market, so make sure you purchase one that's suitable for your own requirements. Once your text, image or photograph has been scanned in, you can manipulate it to suit your needs. You can enlarge it or edit it by changing the colours and applying special effects. You can then print the new image or store it to disk and use it for a background on your desktop. To demonstrate this, we've taken a photo, scanned it into our PC and then inverted the colours for special effect. We've then taken the new image and used it as a background for our desktop. Most scanners come supplied with a photocopy utility, which enables you to use your scanner as a photocopier. Although this is not exactly the quickest way to copy multiple pages, it's still a very useful utility. Another useful scanning function is OCR, which stands for Optical Character Recognition. Supposing you had a document with several pages of text that you wanted to change or edit, but you only have it on hard copy. All you do is scan the pages of text into your computer, select the OCR format, and your text will be transferred to your word processing program, providing it's compatible with the OCR software. You can then edit the document as if you'd typed in all the text yourself. The Internet is short for the International Network. It's also known as the World Wide Web and is a massive computer network connecting thousands of PCs all over the world, including computers at libraries, businesses and universities. Once you're connected to the internet, you can tap into many of the resources stored on these computers and sometimes download files from them. You can also use the internet to send and receive electronic mail. To get online, you need the appropriate software and a modem. So assuming you have a modem, the second step is to find an internet service provider. An ISP will provide you with all the software needed to get hooked up to the internet. There are so many different providers that it's difficult to generalise, but one way or another you'll be charged for surfing the net. The first and most obvious charge is your telephone cost, as you'll need to use a telephone line to access the internet. However, most ISPs do provide access using a local call number. Depending on your choice of ISP, you may also have to pay a subscription charge, but this does vary depending on the provider. So check exactly what offers are available before you commit yourself. You may find your PC supplier will be able to recommend one that'll suit your needs. There are millions of web pages on the internet. These are used mainly by businesses to advertise and sell their products. However, many individuals now have their own web pages too. You can visit most web pages free of charge, but some information providers may levy an extra charge for the information they provide. Although you should be aware of this, as you'll probably be asked to give your credit card details before being allowed to enter a premium paying site. Using your software, you can contact and interact with other people on the net, sharing information and visit various websites. You can also buy from shops, oversee your finances, check the latest news or shares, and get information on items you wish to purchase. You can even book holidays, enter competitions, play games against people miles away, or simply chat using one of the many chat rooms. So once you've selected an internet provider, you need to install their software and go through the signing on process. If you have any problems, your ISP should provide a technical support line to help you. Once you've gone through the setup stage, you need to get familiar with your software, which should include a browser. This enables you to navigate around the net using toolbar commands, addresses, and links. To demonstrate what you can expect to see when you first go online, we're going to connect to the internet using an ISP called AOL, America Online. This is what the main AOL interface screen looks like, and it's from here you can access just about anything you want to on AOL and the internet. You can check out the latest sports news, book a holiday, go shopping, check the weather, and much, much more. There's even a whole site dedicated entirely to the kids. As you can see at the top of the screen under the menu bar, there are various different icons. These are shortcuts to some of AOL's main features. If you place your mouse pointer over the icon, a brief description of each one will appear. The centre of the screen contains link buttons to the internet and other exciting AOL sites. Most internet service providers have their own search facility to help you find the information that you want. If you want to find out about a specific topic on AOL, all you do is click on Keyword and type in the name of the relevant topic. For example, let's suppose you're planning a sightseeing trip to London, or maybe the kids have been asked to do a school project on England's capital city. Here's what you do. Click on Keyword and type in London and click on Go. Choose the subject related to London you want and click on it. From the various options, you should be able to find out just about everything you want to know about London, including what's on at the theatre, places to visit, the royal family, the best restaurants, the history of London, and lots more. It may take a while for the page to load, but when it does, you'll be able to view the information and then move on to related topics by clicking on a link. A link is important to surfing the net because it provides an easy route to related information. Links typically appear as blue underlined text or as images or icons. When you place your mouse pointer over a link, it usually turns into a small hand. At the top of your web page is the toolbar. Toolbars will look different visually depending on your ISP, but generally they all use very similar commands for navigation. The back and forward buttons are self-explanatory. They will take you backwards or forwards, depending on where you are. The stop button will stop the page being loaded. The reload button will reload the page that you're now on. You may wish to use this option if you'd stopped the page from loading and you now want it to finish. The home command will return you to the original startup page. You can usually change your home page in your browser's configuration. If your toolbar has Favorites button, you can bookmark a web page so that you can come back to it with ease at a later date. Address. All websites have an address, and the most common ones begin with www, such as www.microsoft.com or www.bbc.co.uk. These specific website addresses are also known as URLs, which is short for Uniform Resource Locators. The important thing to remember about addresses is that you must enter them exactly as they're shown. For example, you should always capitalise the letters where needed and remember to add all the full stops and forward slashes. Downloading means that you can pull data from the internet to your own computer. This can take a while, depending on the speed of your modem and the amount of information involved. However, a status bar should keep you informed of the progress. You should take precautions when downloading information from the internet, as this is the easiest place to pick up a computer virus. It's important to keep your PC in good working order, so in this section we'll give you a couple of useful tips. Firstly, whenever you load new software into your computer, you're at risk from computer viruses. These can spread through your PC, corrupting files and data, or at worst, you could lose everything. The risks are less if you load software supplied by a reputable dealer or from CD-ROMs, but if you use the internet for downloading software or files, your exposure is much higher. To reduce this risk, it's worth investing in the latest antivirus software to protect your PC from unwanted visitors. As you install programs, wander the web and create documents, your system continually becomes slower and less efficient, so from time to time it needs a tune-up. Windows has a couple of utilities called ScanDisk and Disk Defragmenter that, if used on a regular basis, will ensure your computer runs efficiently. If you encounter a technical problem whilst working with your PC, it's worth trying ScanDisk or Defragmenter before you look elsewhere for assistance. However, before you use either of these utilities, ensure that you've closed down any other programs you've been working on. ScanDisk can check and repair software for errors and can scan the surface of your hard disk for possible malfunctions and sometimes fix them automatically. You access it via the Start menu. Choose Programs, Accessories, System Tools and then ScanDisk. Ensure that the box Automatically Fix Errors is ticked and then you have two options. Standard will check your files and folders for errors, whilst Thorough takes a lot longer but will check the disk surface as well. ScanDisk may take some time to complete if you have a large capacity hard disk, but persevere as errors may be repaired. You'll get a report like this when ScanDisk has finished. You should also regularly defragment your PC using the Disk Defragmenter utility. This reorganises the data on your disk to enable quicker access to files and programs. It's a bit like a reorganisation of your filing cabinet into alphabetical order. Disk Defragmenter can be found in the same place as ScanDisk. Start, Programs, Accessories, System Tools, and then select Disk Defragmenter. Choose the drive you wish to defragment, normally C drive, and click OK. Defragmenter could also take some time, but you'll be provided with a status bar to keep you informed of progress. When Defragmenter has finished, your PC should be more responsive and your programs should start quicker. If you have Windows 98, in the System Tools menu, you'll have a useful maintenance wizard that will help you set up a regular maintenance program for your computer. If you use this facility, remember to leave your computer turned on at the scheduled time so that Windows can perform the optimization activities at the scheduled time. In this section, we want to show you how to solve some of the more common problems you may encounter. With a little patience, you'll find you're able to solve most of them yourselves. The trick is not to make them any worse than they already are. Wait 2 or 3 minutes. The computer may be too busy to handle your request. If it's still frozen, hold down Ctrl-Alt-Delete at the same time. A dialog box should appear. The item at the top of the list should be the one you were working on when the machine locked up. It should also be marked as not responding. Click on the program, then select End Task, and that application should close. If it doesn't, try the shutdown option, and if that fails, as a last resort, press the Reset button on the front of the machine. You have probably left a disk in your floppy disk drive. Remove it and press any key to restart. Check your speaker plug is connected to the correct socket on the back of your sound card, and then double-click the speaker icon on the taskbar and check that the volume sliders are not at their minimum and that mute is not ticked. Whilst it's not always necessary, we'd still recommend that you turn off your PC when connecting and disconnecting peripherals. Plug your joystick into the game port at the back of your computer. Start the computer up, go to Start, Settings, Control Panel. Double-click Game Controllers. Click Add. Select the joystick you have and click OK. Now select the Properties tab. Then click on Test. You may also need to calibrate your joystick from here. First check all connections and ensure the paper tray is fitted correctly. Check that the light on your printer is not flashing. If your online light is flashing, press the button to turn it on. Go to Start, Settings, Printers. Check that there is an icon for your specific printer. If there's not one, you need to install your printer. So click on Add Printer, then follow the on-screen instructions. If you have a printer icon and it still doesn't work, you may need to reinstall your printer drivers using the driver disk supplied with your printer or the drivers supplied in Windows 98. Once again, double-click on Add Printer and follow the instructions until you see the Have Disk button. Insert your driver disk or CD and click the Have Disk button and continue to follow the on-screen instructions. If your printer still fails to respond, refer to the Help section in Windows for a comprehensive guide on how to solve printer problems. First check all the connections have been made correctly and ensure that your line cable is connected to the phone socket. To test the modem, go to Start, Settings, Control Panel. Double-click Modems. Now click the Diagnostics tab and click on your modem. Click More Info. The PC will then attempt to communicate with your modem. If you see this screen, your modem is successfully communicating with your computer. However, if you see this screen, your modem is not set up correctly and needs configuring. Click the Help tab and answer the questions to track down and correct the most common modem problems. Your computer may be set to the wrong language or display a $sign instead of a pound sign. You can change this by going to Start, Settings, Control Panel. Scroll down until you find an icon called Regional Settings. Double-click on it and make the relevant changes if required. Remember to restart your computer for changes to take effect. Your computer should have the date and time programmed correctly when you turn it on. However, if not, this is what you need to do. Firstly, double left-click on the time display in the right-hand corner. As you can see, a calendar and a clock have appeared. To select the month, click on the drop-down arrow in the box as shown, and then select the month required by left-clicking on it. To set the date, simply click on the correct day of the current month. As for the year, there are two ways to set this. The first is achieved by double-clicking in the year box and simply over-typing. Alternatively, you could use the arrows at the edge to pan up and down through the years. The time can be set in a similar way by double-clicking on the hour, minute and second displays and then over-typing. It really is as simple as that. Once you're happy with the settings, click OK. You will then return to the desktop screen. As you can see, the time is now correctly shown in the bottom right-hand corner. Before we go, here's a 10-question knowledge test based on what you've just been shown. Write down the answers and see how you got on at the end of the video. 1. What is the name of the circuit board that houses the components inside a computer? 2. What type of card would you connect your speakers to? 3. What piece of hardware enables you to send and receive data through your telephone line? 4. What key on the keyboard normally activates the help program? 5. What useful utility helps you prolong the life of your monitor? 6. What peripheral has a photocopying facility? 7. What does ISP stand for? 8. What name is given to the bar where you'll find the Start button? 9. What utility searches your hard drive for errors and then attempts to fix them? And 10. What is www short for? Well, that concludes our training session on computer basics. We hope you enjoyed it and found it useful.